Wake up, gamers! Let's get this money. I got no fucking clue what's going on with the lighting today. I don't know. It looks really weird. It looks like that weird movie, The Hobbit. It looks like some kind of strange movie where like the bloom's been turned up like way too much. I don't know. Anyway, welcome back to Build Showcase. This is, I've said this before for well, actually, the most in advance video we ever recorded was definitely the warnings guide. But I've done these videos quite in advance before as well, specifically build showcases, but this might be the most. This is 2 weeks in advance, basically. I'm recording this on the day that the previous Scout one goes out, Electric Avenue, which was, I didn't mind that. But yeah, okay, so we're back to Engineer again, my favourite fella in the whole universe, using feedback loop as the focal part of the build. Now, I say this every time, but you know, there's going to come a time when these build showcases are going to have to sort of shift in sort of the manner in which I sort of execute them. And yeah, I say that every time, but I kind of need feeling to explain it because I do believe that I am brushing up against the very last engineer builds that I have like laid out for me to use, right? And so, so what does that mean exactly? Well, let me explain as quickly as I can. It's going to change to me focusing on individual overclocks and building builds around them. As it stands, every single build has used a unique set of overclocks. Both have been unique before, including this one. But the thing is, this might be the last engineer one where that's the case. What's going to have to change going forward is that I'm going to have to focus on a specific overclock. And anyway, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. They're going to start to focus on specific overclocks, and the best example is Engineer because I believe we're going to have to make that change in the next Engineer build showcase, where it will probably be focused on either Fat Boy or Hyperpropellant. The difference between those videos, the previous ones, they won't be formatted any differently. The branding will remain the same, because I remember trying to do it with Ice Storm. That was sort of a progenitor to what I would be doing once I've run out of set builds. Sort of like a good or bad question video, but it's like it wasn't. Not only was it not just a great idea, I guess, in general, because I think the community already has its mind made up about specific overclocks in that way. I also came to the conclusion that it's neutral, which was a complete cop out. Even though Ice Storm is actually good, by the way, I want to say that now. So it's not going to be like that. They're going to be like normal build showcases. The only difference is there will be overclock overlap, right? Obviously, there's more overclocks that I haven't used in these videos than ones I have used. But there will still be overlap because I can't necessarily just make a unique build every single time. If I'm focusing on one overclock, I need to make sure the secondary or the primary that pairs with the overclock we're focusing on is good enough. For example, Hyperpropellant, I've obviously used... Well, actually, I guess I haven't actually used lightweight rounds before. No, I have. Of course I have. I used lightweight rounds before on this one. Apparently not as well. What's going on? Where's the one? Is it this? I don't know. Either way, there's going to start to be some overlap because it's going to be about the specific overclock rather than the whole build itself. It's still going to be a build about how to make best use of that overclock. It's still going to be very build oriented, but it does not mean every part of it's going to be unique. In fact, this is actually a good example because Seeker rounds on the Smart Rifle was going to be, I mean, it is in slot for this one, or was. So many things aren't the way I remember them, what the hell. I don't actually use Neolad, so this was like a placeholder thing, I was trying it out, but normally this would be Seeker rounds to pair with Plastic Catalyst, but I didn't use it in that build showcase, I used a Stubby instead. Or did I use the Warthog? I don't remember. Either way, I saved it for this one, because I think this is a better pairing. Seeker round and the feedback loop, which is I'm going to start though with feedback loop. It's sort of the main focus of the build. Feedback loop's an interesting overclock. I used to think it was absolutely terrible. It's at least a B though. It's at least a B tier overclock, probably a high B, but it's weird. I find it interesting because I don't think it's amazing, but I think it has a genuinely really solid application that feels pretty cool at the very least. I would say it's the kind of overclock where if you have doubts about it, either from just face value looking at it and thinking it's probably not good, which I would understand, or just from using it a couple of times and not really getting it, I would say it's probably better than you think if you're already doubting it. But if you're not really decided on it at all, you're probably not going to be too impressed. That's sort of my stance on feedback loop. It's definitely a cool idea, in that it builds up range and damage over the duration of the beam. AOE range and damage. Obviously, there's no single target range, but yeah. So AOE damage and range increase over duration of the beam. It goes up by 1 damage and 0.3 meters every second. And a second is quite a long time when we have a discharge rate of 13. 13 ammo every increase of those two stats. So how do we alleviate that? Well, personally, I'd like to, I don't know, decrease the fire rate or something, or not lose out on 100 ammo. But we do have biomass converter. Biomass converter is the crux of the build. It's also kind of the reason why I have kind of issues with feedback loop. It's one of those overclocks that limits you, It's one of those overclocks that limits you in terms of mission types, Like suddenly the boss focused mission types are really like out of range, kind of, because not because we can't do anything to them, and feedback loop is definitely more ammo efficient than you might expect against crowds of enemies. But bosses, we lose out on damage, and we have no good excuse to focus on direct damage, Well, we lose out on ammo, and we can't justify taking weak point damage or direct damage. So against dreadnoughts and the caretaker and sort of the rival enemies that aren't grouped, the only ones you're going to be killing quickly are shredders, and they won't supply biomass converter. It becomes very ill suited to those things, which is weird in my opinion. It's just weird, but it's still really good against groups of enemies. But that's kind of it. Even then, it's also not great against Mactera. So yeah, I definitely have issues with feedback loop. I wish it was better. I personally think it should come with a built-in micro biomass converter that's not quite as good. I think biomass converter adds 3 ammo per medium enemy plus killed. First of all, I do think it should be reworked to be proportional to the enemy, meaning that a swarmer type enemy would supply 3 ammo. 1 ammo, I mean, but this supplies 3 ammo. And every 0.25 seconds, sorry. I think feedback loop should come in with a built-in one that is the same, except it's 1 ammo, or 2, so it totals up to 5 or something like that. I think that's very justified. But yeah, to briefly explain the actual choice of modifications here: tier 1 ammo, because we really can't justify anything else. I haven't tried it with Impact Splash, but the problem is with Engineer, I'm not confident enough that I can make a primary that is universally applicable and has enough ammo efficiency and longevity to counter that, to make that work. Frankly, I'm not in the mood to try it. It might happen again, right? At some point I might try that. It would be a stubby build, I'm sure. That might happen. But for now, I have to counter the ammo penalty as much as I can, because that's the problem with feedback loop. It doesn't inherently justify the ammo penalty without taking biomass converter, and I think that's kind of weird. I think because I was going to suggest that maybe a direct damage penalty would be much more reasonable, but it also wouldn't, because that completely destroys the utility of the shard diffractor in that it can still be used as a decent single target damage thing, right? And we're going to see that a lot with Praetorian specifically, where I'm still going to be using the shard diffractor to set things on fire because I get the bonus damage from the smart rifle. But that's why direct damage would be an ill-suited penalty. Here's the thing, Plasmic Catalyst has the perfect downside. It reduces your total capacity by 50, and that's it. And I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's exactly what feedback loop should have as well. I think it should only be an ammo penalty of 50. I think that would make it much easier to justify not taking biomass converter, because Dazzler module would be a fantastic accompaniment to it as well. Especially if it had that mini biomass converter attached. Suddenly Dazzler module becomes a really valid pick, and biomass converter also becomes better. Okay, so everything else. Tier 2 radius is obvious. This is an AoE weapon. We're using it as an AoE weapon today, so we're going to have area effect radius. Tier 3, magazine size. The charge speed is not a problem, even though it can be cancelled out, although I don't buy into that practice. But, magazine size equals more ammo. 50 more ammo, in fact. So, definitely taking that. Tier 4, high intensity heating. Why? Well, we don't need armor breaking because we've got Seeker rounds on Tier 1 on our priming weapon, and also, this is just too good. This is actually going to allow us to set things on fire well, which means when we are hitting a single enemy, which we always should be, you should never inherently be aiming for the ground. And this means that when you're hitting a single enemy, you are doing more damage to it. And it allows us to set on fire certain enemies to get that damage bonus from the smart rifle easier. And I've already explained biomass converter. Alright, that's all of that. Quickly, smart rifle. Seeker rounds is really good. A lot better than people think. Much better than people think. For some reason, I believe that Waste and Lazy Maybe placed it in worse than base as their rating on the tier list. That's stupid, objectively. And I'll explain why in a moment. Tier 1, ammo. Why? Because we kind of need it to be more flexible. I think this is an example where you could probably justify taking damage, but the reason why I can't personally is because I don't think that changes the breakpoint of grunts. The breakpoint of grunts with the smart rifle is 3 bullets in this build because of the electrocution. I believe it would still be 3 bullets, but it would simply just kill it anyway. But you can't do it in 2, and that's the difference. Where I don't think taking the damage is actually worthwhile. Now you might think it is when you see, the actual gameplay where the damage isn't actually that impressive on the shot rifle. But it's what it needs to be, in my opinion. Tier 2 is macro lens because I can't escape it. Basically, I find it to be the most reliable one. Sometimes I do wish I had a higher lock threshold, but actually we get that from Seeker round. So frankly, I'm very comfortable with macro lens. That increased range and tighter spread is always more beneficial to me because I'm not using the smart rifle to lock onto loads of different enemies at once anyway. The only time I'm doing that is with swarmers, and you can still do that relatively easily. The only problem is you can't really paint targets too easily when they're at close range, but it's not a huge deal. And feedback loop, this version of the shard diffractor does clear up tiny enemies pretty quickly, even if you don't get the biomass converter benefits. It's not a huge deal. It deals with them quick enough to be efficient. Tier 3 electrochemical rounds, pretty much always going to be that. Some specific builds might use blow through, but yeah, electrochemical rounds. We have both electricity and the ability to inflict fire from the shard diffractor. We get both of those damage bonuses. We get damage bonus from the weapon itself with the electric generator mod. It's just an obvious pick. This is our single target weapon anyway. Single target and sort of trash clear at the same time. It's a combination of things. But yeah, this is our single target weapon. We want that electricity, and obviously it got a lot better recently. In fact, we can electrocute oppressors and dreadnoughts. Anyway. Tier 4 shutter speed sensor, lock on rate, basically fire rate. It's the same thing. And because the macro lens, it's very hard for us to not focus on one enemy, so we build up to that lock of 3. We only need 3 locks to do what we need to do, and we get there so quickly. It's very, very good. And yeah, exactly. Tier 5, electric generator mod. Unless using Executioner, in my opinion, it takes too long to get to maximum locks to justify this. So we take electric generator mod because it's just so good at controlling enemies, doing extra damage to them for the damage over time, and getting damage bonuses as well. It's just such a ridiculously good upgrade. You hear all that? Fucking hell. Anyway, as I was saying, now the only thing I need to do now is explain why Seeker Rounds is actually really good, and why if you don't think it's good, you're stupid. Or at least if you don't understand why it's good. Now, the problems with it are that, it doesn't feel great, okay? The longer reload time and the slower rate of fire, it feels really bulky and pea shootery, but it's still as good as it needs to be. And I'll explain why. First of all, being able to lock onto enemies and hit them from any angle, and hold the lock at a wider angle, hold it behind walls and things like that, is objectively very utilitarian. It's not going to increase your combat power, but it is useful, right? But in terms of actual combat power, now this is the thing that people don't understand, right? People are like, oh, it doesn't actually make you stronger. Yeah, it has some utility. It doesn't make you stronger. Yes, it does, okay? It absolutely does make you stronger, you clown. Okay, listen. It ignores armor, right? What does that mean? First of all, I think the ability to hit something like an oppressor or a dreadnought from any angle and do all the damage, full damage, is objectively making you stronger. But if you're not convinced by that, just think about this, armor. Enemy armor. What does enemy armor do? Every enemy has armor, by the way, or every common enemy, even glyphid grunts, right? What does armor do? It reduces damage that enemies take. If you ignore the armor, you're going to be doing more damage than you would otherwise. It increases your damage against most enemies, okay? So, yes, Seeker Rounds is good. And apart from that, everything else is pretty normal. Standard perks set up, resupply is like an optional one, but I always take Vampire and Thorns are pretty much essentials. Vampire for every class, Thorns for Engineers definitely a big up. Height Sensors and Dash are my standard solo perks, of course. Pickaxe, I guess I don't really see why it matters, although that should be Dawn of the Dread. Grenade, Plasma Burster. Why Plasma Burster? I don't quite know. I definitely think you could justify lures. Definitely Shredders, for sure. But Plasma Bursters, I kind of like the very straightforward explosive power of them. You know, Shard Diffractor, this Shard Diffractor someone needs to be a bit more careful with, you know. Obviously, you need to be careful with Plasma Bursters, but not in terms of terrain. In fact, they're very flexible in terms of terrain if you know how to use them in tandem with your momentum. But Shard Diffractor, we really need enemies to be set up in a way that's very, like, justifiable to use against them. Plasma Bursters are very easy to justify using. LMG gun platform, or, you know, the Sentry gun, right? I used to have it so it was total expanded ammo bags, but I've just switched to Gemini with quick deploy. It's the most bog standard, like, good all-rounder version of the Sentry, you know. Got a good amount of ammo, you've got 2 sentries you can deploy them quickly as well, you know, because we are a little bit clunky, right? You know, we can't always justify shooting with the Shard Diffractor, and the Smart Rifle's just not the most responsive weapon in this case, so I think sentries being that way makes a good deal of sense. Platform gun, yeah, whatever, we don't need repellent additive, so... Well, the repellent additive wouldn't actually be the opposite of useful. In fact, it could be very useful. In fact... Anyway, so in terms of what we're actually going to do, I was thinking, do I want to do an elimination or an industrial sabotage? And it's just like, well, no, because I know the build isn't good for those things, right? I don't know exactly how bad it is, but I know that it's not good. And what that means is, I could show it to you and show that it's possible, but it wouldn't be showing off what the build is actually good at. Which is kind of the opposite of what we want. So I think I should just do a mission that it's suited to. I think this is interesting because, you know, like I said, we're a little bit clunky with this build, and I'm going to hop in now. And I feel like something like Lethal Enemies is going to force me to stay on my toes, but still probably actually show off what's good about the build anyway. So I think it might be a good fit. It's also a big air current mission. This could be like, this could be the whole video, like genuinely. I don't actually see why it wouldn't be. If it takes us up to, you know, 40 minutes, which I'm sure it will, then I think this will be it. Obviously I'll cut between combat scenarios, but I feel like this mission type is the kind of one where you don't get out of combat too often. Big egg hunts are very, very intense, and I like that about them, because the small ones are so relaxed. Right, there's something big. I think it's just a breeder though. I don't shoot the hoarder, it's a waste of your ammo. That was a good group of grunts to do that too. Prospector!
Yeah! Don't let the prospector get away! There's the data cell inside!
Okay. That was okay. That was pretty good. God, there's a lot of enemies. This is really not where I want to be. There's lots of enemies around. I think this is actually a pretty good start. I haven't done a Lethal Enemies in a while with like a build that I'm not like super confident in, so I think that went pretty well. Also, I've started to glow. So yeah, I guess I need to spy out if there's anything that we can do before I cut to like the next scenario. Also, we have a prospector, which is actually a good thing because that's going to give us some. That will give us some rival enemies to sort of just show, you know, the ineffectiveness of. Like, I have no problem with that. Like, it's just variety, you know. It's still an egg hunt. That's actually a very good thing. But yeah, I think we're in a position where I'm gonna cut. I'm sure some enemies will show up soon, but all right, I'll see you in a minute. I was right. So I don't know where they're coming from. Ah, this is good.
Not ready.
That only needs about 22 ammo. Now we already have used a noticeable amount of Shard Diffractor ammo, but I'm not too upset. Now, okay, so this is actually an interesting aspect of biomass converter that I want to point out. what enemy types are like really good for it and what aren't. Like, for example, guards suck for it. They're so hard to kill with it that they almost don't work, you know? Grunts obviously go down pretty quickly, but exploders are technically medium-sized enemies, but they also die instantly. They are the best thing for biomass converter. Obviously the problem is you can't do it. You can't. Well, they are and they aren't, because now I don't know how the cooldown on biomass converter works exactly, right? So it triggers every 0.5 seconds, but I don't know if that's an estimation or if what it actually means is that you could actually you know, trigger it on 4 enemies per second, you know? As in, if you kill 4 exploders at once, I assume it's only going to give you 3 ammo back, because you can't trigger it more than once every 0.25 seconds. So, well, exploders are good, it's only because they give you a quick return. So there's actually a really interesting intricacy to how biomass converter works. I think it's pretty cool. I think the game, like, in general, is just a lot more intricate than Ghost Ship realise, you know? I don't think any of the balance changes they've made over time have really disrespected this fact, but I don't think many of the additions they've made have felt like they've been done in light of it either, you know? A lot of the stuff they add doesn't necessarily feel particularly aware of how complex the game can be in terms of, like, mechanics and how certain weapon mechanics work and how you can build them and how they are used in combat and things like that. It's so bloody interesting when you actually get down to brass tacks, which is a phrase that I actually kind of hate. I don't know why I said that. Also, so far there's been a really fantastic like collection of enemies this mission. Oh, that was a weird move. So this suppressor, this Praetorian, okay, I'm not going to set it on fire actually. It's going to be a waste of ammo, I think, in this circumstance. But this is also going to show you how smart weapons damage is not, like, crazy good. We still dealt with it. We had a combination of Bosco and turret fire. I don't think there was anything wrong with that, but I wasn't, like, you know.
Reloading.
But yeah, definitely gonna have to skip. In fact, I think the next thing I should probably show you is... wait, what the fuck? Where is that? It must be near here. Like down here? Down here? Down there? I don't know. I don't know where the oppressor is, but either way, hey. How about Brood Nexus? Or a patrol bot? I can hear a patrol bot. Yeah, Brood Nexus is so easy to set on fire, you know? So just, like, do it. Can't actually access the other weak points though.
Squash him.
So, I suppose we should talk a little bit about strengths and weaknesses of the build. I think crowd is obvious. I think basic single targets is obvious, you know. It starts to get a little bit, like, weak when you come to really big stuff, like oppressors and particularly dreadnoughts, because of course the shard diffractor is really not... Well, the shard diffractor is really not appropriate to use against either of those things, I'd say. We're getting some absolutely fantastic crowds for feedback loop. Well, for biomass converter specifically, I'd say.
I got the Praetorian. What's the gas? No, the flares
Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna hopefully not die. I don't... What? I mean, I think it's because I jumped before reloading the platform gun, but I didn't realise the platform gun needed to be reloaded.
Saved by a machine, how I love this
So yeah.
crystal. I feel quite alive.
Oh, where is it, man? Right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out of this hole. I'm going to get Vodka to mine that egg. And I'm going to call the resupply in at spawn, I think. So yeah, I think so far, taking repellent additive has not been rewarding. Because of how many platforms I've been using. So that's kind of on me.
Bosco, mine it.
Oh, I heard a pressure wave spawn. I don't think I did, though. Spawn? No, but there will obviously be enemies.
I have to make a deposit.
Bring on the wall. Actually, so people was a pretty easy to set on fire, so we can justify that. Okay. You know what? This Praetorian. Why do I keep calling them oppressors? And set it on fire. I hope that the damage bonus difference is noticeable there. Right, was that it?
Come
Give me
here,
that.
you flying tin can.
Oh, I'm actually gonna stay on. I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna be able to mine this egg, and I sense a swarm in this one. Where is it? Okay, so I don't think it's me that's triggering it. I think we're going past like radioactive crystals, and that's what's setting it off. Oh dear. Mactera, one of the primary weaknesses, but also not really. Root Mactera, for sure, are a weakness. But the smart rifle is just pretty good against Mactera in general, especially with Seeker rounds, because that makes you know, it makes it harder to lose the lock, and also it's really good against Brundles. Okay, I'm gonna try. Is there a close enough egg to here? Not particularly. I guess if I went through here. Alright, I'm gonna try and find an egg. We definitely want to swarm. That's what we want, I think. So. Alright, I found an egg, and I'd be surprised if it doesn't spawn a swarm. Means I need to be ready for that. Ready to grab a resupply. No swarm. But I am going to refill this turret.
Ready to use. That will teach you. Have to wait for marriage.
Okay. We'll take a resupply anyway now. Okay, so far, this has been a really, really good showcase. Which honestly makes me want to show it off in circumstances where it's not so good. I feel like this is almost doing this build too many favours, you know? But where's the closest egg? Here. Apart from one that Bosco has. Oh. Hello? Hello?
Follow me.
What the fuck, man?
Don't let him flank you. Go! Get to work!
Yeah, I don't know if this means I'm going to have to migrate to another location for a swarm. I might have to, which is fine, I think. But where shall we go? I'll go this way. I think there's only one egg on this side of the map, so... Shut up, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go this way. I think I know where the prospector is now.
Go fetch.
You hear Shredder's dying? It's right on the other side of this.
Platform created.
Ooh, there's gold. Whoa. Hey. Hey.
Damn flares could need an upgrade.
Fucking hell.
Plasma deployed.
Alright, that's fine.
Bosco, mine it.
Right, let's go check on the robot fellas. So is that a patrol bot hanging around, or was that Prospector's ambient noise? I actually can't tell. Oh, those are definitely patrol bots.
For Carl.
Hi! How many of you are there? Yeah, this is a situation actually where the shard fact is a really inappropriate thing to use against patrol bots. Oh my god, there is a lot of them. Okay, so I'm going to try to step back and do this. Probably didn't do much, but that did travel down and hit a few of them, I think. Okay, this is weird and stupid. I'm going to get in there and try and position myself better. Oh my god. This is not good.
Armed and ready. Off to the junkyard with you. Shredder.
Active maneuvers.
Get him in your face. Never felt better.
I've never felt more in danger. Alright, this is a place for a resupply, I think. Got loads of nitro, so...
Hang in there. Supplies are on the way.
Go patrol in hell. The resupply is here.
Fuck!
Plasma buster. Covering fire. Eat it. Got no flares ready.
Well, there's our oppressor. That patrol bot's going to come back to life, isn't it? Alright, I need to refill the sentries.
Reloading.
I'm screwed.
One platform ready to use. What's this?
Fuck yeah, I am going to set this guy on fire.
Shredder, shred it. Flip it first.
So it would normally not last too long, but because I assume a lot of people probably know how elemental damage bonuses work now, but in case you don't, it's almost always added in the form of the element that it's taking advantage of. So half of the damage I was just doing then, or half of the bonus damage, was in the form of fire damage, which actually also applies heat, I think, but either way, fire damage helps keep things on fire.
This planet's too small.
Right, that's good.
for the
Okay,
best.
this has been amazing so
I'm a
far.
jock, not a geek. Where's Haxing? Hack complete. I knew
where's
all
that
those
good
hours
one?
playing video games would pay. Help me with the minerals here. I made a platform.
Nowhere to be found. Anyway,
Ready to kill some more crates.
so yeah, there we go. So I think that did. It may or may not have proved what I was saying. I think it did prove that the shard fact is not the optimal thing to use against them, but in the positions where the patrol bots didn't have too much health and they were sort of relatively stationary, shooting at the head was still a fine thing to do. Right, now we've got to actually swarm.
Get ready.
But yeah, the smart rifle is pretty good against them. Not bad at all. And I would have a lot of confidence as well in the scenario where I'm dealing with rival turrets, especially the turret controller in a rival presence warning where turrets are grouped up,
Swarm. It's a
which is
big
good for the
one.
grenade, plasma bursters, and obviously, I think. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, based on experience and just how I feel, that it is pretty good against turrets. All right, a warden. This is actually good because a warden is something that does counter what we're doing quite well, where we rely on killing enemies quickly to get biomass converter to activate so we get more ammo. Obviously, we can't kill them quickly if we have to go through a warden shield. So the warden does become an important target.
Pesticide coming up.
The last of the wave is approaching you now. Keep it together.
This
We've been using more smart rifle ammo than
boxes would be swarming.
other ammo,
Data cell secured.
than sharp pack ammo.
Chance to make it out alive.
Did I just do another ambush spawn? The fuck? What's going on here? Anyway, it's becoming clear to me that this mission is going to be the whole video, which is cool. I like that. So far, it's given us a lot of breadth of enemy types. I would say, obviously, we haven't really covered bosses, but we also kind of did with the Prospector. Stingtail would be interesting, but I'm just going to tell you right now, Stingtail's no problem, either Acid Spitters or Web Spitters or Septic Spreaders. These are all things, even Menace, these are all things that the Shard Factor deals with very well, or the Smart Rifle, I should say, including Shellback. So we don't have a huge breadth of enemies in this mission, but we've got a good breadth. We've even got a rival, we've even got some rival enemies, so I feel pretty good about this. And also it's shown that as long as you're on your toes, it's definitely a build that is good enough at killing to keep you safe, because obviously we're doing lethal enemies, and I haven't gone down because of the enemies, I've gone down because of stupid bullshit. Bullshit, like, on my part, like things that I shouldn't be, mistakes I shouldn't be making. What I mean, not the game being bullshit. Right, what's on the other side of here? Is that an egg? Was that, when did we get that one? Oh right, I came around here earlier. I remember now. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to head back through to like the other side of the map, basically. Alright, what just showed up? Doesn't sound like it was too much. Oh, they're all dead, are they? Well, that's lovely.
Just take your sweet time, old lady. I've got
Right, yeah, we're gonna move on from here. So I think I'll get back to you when I'm on the other side of the map.
Grabbing ammo. I needed that.
Because there is another enemy patrol bot somewhere. But yeah. Oh. But you know I can't resist. There's a delicious horde of enemies. That's to convert into biomass.
Don't waste your ammunition.
How could I resist that? Ah. Oh fuck. So yeah, try yours. Got to curve the bullets under to kill them properly. Oh, these guys.
Plasma. There's charging. One more for that rat. Press her down.
Okay. Where was I going? Well, this is up here. Up? Is that right? Up? I think so. I won't waste the time of me trying to navigate. What? No, I knew that was going to happen, but it still surprised me because I was going to like say like Lunar Dragon ambush, go, and then it would happen, but it happened anyway.
Suck on this, you freak of nature.
Okay.
Good job, miners. Animal statue secured.
Yay.
Performance point bonus activated. A secondary objective has been achieved. Bonus will be transferred to your accounts on mission completion.
Alright, let's have a look. Is there actually going to be anything in this cave? Oh, hello. That's something. forgot how to play. That's weird. Actually, because it's something I do a lot as driller when I encounter a spitballer. Like a really, really useful tip is basically just drill in like while facing it as like to block the spitballs. Basically, if your the drills will destroy the spitballs very easily. So I think it's gonna be. It should be at least 2 swarms in across these 4 eggs, I guess.
Bosco, find it.
I don't really want to. Hold on a minute. Actually, don't do that, Bosco. Any sugar around? No. Oh yeah, there is. Right.
Right there. Platform. Feeling much better now.
Okay.
Swarm spotted.
Just drop that.
Buckle up. Contact imminent.
Find it. Molly is on the way.
Incoming.
Hold on.
Smoke him if you got him.
Okay.
I got the tri-jaw. Bacteria tri-jaw eliminated. Got no flares ready. Reloading.
Wave is almost over.
Whoa!
Time's up, Craig. Reloading. I'm taking some of the ammo.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Go.
That was pretty good, wasn't it? Okay, so what that was though is what happens when you have good terrain, which both Feedback Loop and Biomass Converter really like, because it basically means you just don't have to aim as much as it means, basically. A combination of good terrain and enemies just being inherently grouped together is really what you want. In fact, it's more so enemies being grouped together. It's just good terrain. The kind of good terrain I'm talking about is terrain where it's very hard for enemies to go out of sight. Very open areas, you know, where they're not going to accidentally crawl behind something, behind a ledge as they're coming towards you. It's things like that we don't want as much. For example, the kind of environment that I'd be fighting in if I were to fight the swarm that's going to come from one of these eggs in this area, which I'm not going to do, obviously.
Platform.
Hold on, let's go. Slow down a little bit. I'm going to do these both out at the same time.
Help me with the minerals here. Platform up.
Prepare to fight for your life.
Yep.
Big swarm is
You know,
approaching. Egg collection
Now we run.
completed. Well done. Call the escape pod in when ready. Swarm! I repeat, swarm!
Reloading!
Mactera. Many Macteras, including Brundles, which is good.
Frontal down! Watch out! Eat them! That was great. Plasma deployed. Ah! Yeah. Reloading!
The wave is petering out. Wipe out the rest and get on with it.
This is so easy. Haven't missed anything. I mean, it's definitely not a room big enough to have anything in it.
Flares recharging.
I can say that for sure. Okay. That's it. It's done. So what have we learned? I'd say not much. I think I've just locked in
Getting supplies.
what I know is good about it. But the build overall, it's shown that I think it's very flexible. I think they can handle most enemy types. I think it can handle all enemy types. We just sort of don't. There's a lot that we lose out on when we go against bosses. You know, the main benefits of the Shard Director really don't come through against single targets, which is why boss-focused scenarios and missions are not what the build is suited for. But you're still not going to be like in a disastrous situation if you do. I should say. I think it's still a fine choice for something like Industrial Sabotage or Elimination. I think it's going to get even better use out of multiplayer where there are more enemies.
Go, go. Drop pod isn't waiting forever.
And on the whole, it's kind of showed me that I think for what I'm sort of for what I've realised Feedback Loop is for, I don't inherently think it needs a buff. The only reason it needs a buff is if Ghost Ship agreed that it should be more flexible, because I don't think it's too flexible. It's really just like ground-based swarms, you know, and clearing out like tiny enemies as well. But we can use the smart rifle for that. So
4 minutes.
it's very singular in what it does, which is okay because it doesn't have very much ammo. But I don't think it would get much better at what it does by having more ammo. It would just mean you could use it in more circumstances, different circumstances, you know? And I think that's maybe is fair. I think the 50 ammo thing is not terrible.
Worthless, but fun to destroy.
Like, as an idea, just reducing the penalty down to 50 ammo, not 100.
Initiating launch sequence. Deep Rock Galactic thanks you for your good work. Drop pod will leave with or without you.
Bitch! Ow. Oh, we can go. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's any more I can really say. I hope this gameplay really like convinced you about it. Obviously, we saw that
3 minutes.
this is really the build specifically. You know, the build itself was actually fine against rival enemies. So we didn't really use the Shard Diffractor in that situation because I didn't think it was appropriate, and I think that was correct. I think this build is fairly comprehensive. I think the two weapons balance each other out, which is why I would recommend cautious experimentation with other primaries if you want to use Feedback Loop. I think this is a really, really strong companion piece this smart rifle is a really strong companion piece to this shard diffractor, so I would definitely recommend starting here. But also experimentation is good always, so feel free to experiment, but just keep in mind I think this is probably the best it's going to get in terms of something to pair with feedback loop. Now, is there anything we want to change, or is there possibly a reason to try something else, like the increased damage, the increased area damage? I'm not sure. The problem is it's such a small number that it's very hard to tell if it would actually change any meaningful breakpoints. That's kind of the problem I have with it. But actually, I think this might not be a terrible idea. I'm going to slap on that increased damage, get some Rockbox gameplay in. It's very, very quickly. Apart from that, if you enjoyed this, I'm going to make sure I don't do this after I've done this. I'm not going to do this after this mission as well. If you enjoyed this episode, enjoyed the build showcase, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to stay on top of everything to do with Deep Rock Galactic and Rogue Core, and you want to see more videos like this, then also click the bell. Standard YouTube bullshit, but it's really appreciated. We really want this channel to grow, like not even much more. All we want is the next big milestone, and then we're satisfied. We don't really need to go beyond that. We don't need 10k. We don't need 100k. So we know it's never going to happen as well. But if we can get to the next one, that'd be pretty cool. So what am I going to do here? Am I going to jump right into this shit? I think I am. I think I want to focus this very much so on Rockbox. Oh shit, a Nemesis. That's bad. That sucks for this build. Okay, let's go. Go that way, mate. Okay, yeah, we're doing this. This is it. This is something. Wait, is that a shard diffractor? A stingtail? Hello?
Terrain scanner just got updated to the new location.
This is about to get rickety. So I think a really fair reason why I was hesitant to take the increased area damage is because it doesn't make us heat enemies up faster, which is something that we kind of want the ammo for, so we have a little bit of flexibility where I could justify setting Praetorian on fire, but I can't really do that now, which is just kind of awkward. Oh wow, we got everything. Oh my god, we got machine event as well. Okay, looks like this mission was definitely worth doing. It actually makes me regret not tightening up the first one a bit more. Okay, so what should be the case is, first of all, festive fleas, no problem.
Watch out! Reloading.
So yeah, Nemesis should be okay because as long as it doesn't grab me, which it's going to. Because obviously Seeker rounds is going to penetrate through its armor without problem. Okay. Don't grab me. Don't do that.
Look at me. I'm your master. The Rockbox really did a number on the Glyphids. Reloading. Not sure if you were truly alive, but now you're most certainly dead. Oh, I got it. Ah, that buzzing was getting on my nerves.
Yeah, I think so far the shot director has felt a bit better against just grunts and shit, but I don't know if that's worth the trade-off. Okay, that's fine. I think Nemesis is not really something you need to make sure you're... that's not really ground that you need to cover with a build, necessarily. It's not necessarily a mark of a good build whether or not it can deal with Nemesis, you know? It's just not really common enough. But yeah, I'm going to take this mission relatively seriously, so I'm going to do some mission stuff. I'll get back to you for either the Contagion Spike or the Trick Light Deposit. I put myself in an incredibly bad position. It's over.
All signs of rock pucks have been eliminated from the cave. Well done.
Saved by a machine.
Okay. That's good, I guess.
Throwing sizzler.
Bro. Bro, that's crazy. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Bosco, you're the best.
Oh, yes. Gold.
I hate rock box.
Okay.
Grabbing ammo.
That was interesting. I guess.
Let's
do
get
this.
these lasers up and running.
Oh, I will say actually, so far, increasing the area damage on the shard factor has actually been like felt pretty good, but I don't think it's worth it still. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. Because I'm thinking maybe like a more like comprehensive stubby build would like make it feel better, but then again, I think the smart rifle here is such a good accompaniment in terms of how flexible it is. But I really can't break away from that either. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, where's it going to put the thing? Oh, that's okay. What do you throw them from there?
Sentry gun needs assembling.
I definitely. Wow, that's incredible. I love that. Love a bit of that.
Hello.
Fuck it, Bodko, grab that egg. We'll be done in a second.
Swarm on a direct intercept course. Get
Good.
ready.
1, 2, 3. Yep, got all my fingers.
Nicely done, team. The current
Oh, that transition from the machine event music to the swarm music was really nice.
I need the mule right here. Follow me, Bosco.
combat positions. The swarm is here.
Help me with the minerals here.
Alright, this will be it before I guess extraction, although I can't imagine the extraction being too interesting. Oh, you know what, man? This feels really good. It's just going to make us overall a bit less ammo efficient because I'm not going to use the shard diffractor on like things like Praetorians to set them on fire and such, which means I actually have to use more shard diffractor ammo to kill them. But yeah, this I don't know, man. This is actually okay, especially if they. I really want to do that thing where they make it like proportional, and what I mean by that is the biomass converter. So there's like tiny enemies, medium enemies, and like huge enemies, I think, are the classifications. I'm not sure what they are exactly. Like tiny enemies, I feel like you know what they are. That's swarmers, shredders, shockers. That's it. Although technically the ones from a brew nexus are called glyphic spawn. And then medium enemies are, I feel like it's obvious as well, it's like grunts and all the accompanying grunts and Macteras, like low level Macteras. And then big, I would say, is like Warden and up in terms of size, so like Praetorians are obvious and things like that. And you should go like tiny would give you 1 ammo back, medium gives you 3 as it already does, and then bigger ones give you 5. And then maybe like things like Dreadnoughts can give you like a lot, like 50 or something, I don't know. That would be pretty cool. Especially the tiny enemies thing. Because that's something that actually makes this harder to justify as well, because it doesn't actually change our breakpoint against tiny enemies. Like swarmers, we killed just as effectively as we were when we had less AoE damage. It hasn't made a difference. So, but it would be worth it if it refunded ammo. Which does mean you'd also have to rework how it refunds ammo to be not on a cooldown, which is kind of awkward because it probably should be on a cooldown. But I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, I'm going to finish the mission. I think the last thing I'll show you is the extraction, and that'll be the send-off, because I didn't want this to be I didn't want this to be an hour-long video, but I think it's just because I think the intro is a bit too long. That's on me, but I think genuinely, I think the gameplay we got here is pretty cracking. So, I'll see you at extraction, but that'll be pretty much it. Alright, we're going to go from this point to extraction. There's a bunch of shit just showed up. And I'm sort of conjuring up a really interesting idea that I'm not going to put in the video. In this video, it might be its own thing. In fact, I've got a cool idea. I think you're going to see it. Basically, I want to try doing like an unstable version of the build. So, kind of already halfway there. Where it's like... okay. I don't know when I would record this, actually. Probably not straight after this. But I might take though just all damage on both. But I don't know.
Where is that damn?
That might not be. It might be hard to like. I don't know what that video would be called. You know. But I feel like it could be interesting to see if it's actually good or not.
Good work. All objectives have been achieved. Pull the drop pod when you are ready to move on. Sending in the drop pod, starting the counter. This is it, team. Do us proud.
No, the flares are recharging. Plasma burster!
Drop pod has arrived. Retrieving the mule.
Reloading.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 5 minutes.
Where are you going, buddy? Whoa!
If only Deep Rock would invest in some pesticide.
Yeah.
Feel much better now. Go! Drop pod isn't waiting forever.
Okay, so this is actually it. So we've already done the outro, but obviously, you know, do all that stuff if you're interested, if you like this. Thanks for watching in general. And depending on when this comes out, well, I know when this will come out, but depending on what circumstances are, you'll probably see us next with a podcast on Saturday. So we'll see you there. I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you tried out the build. Please tell me if you did enjoy it. Please tell me if you've tried the build and you like it and things like that. Suggestions to builds are obviously welcome as always, and that's it. See you next time. Stock and Roan or something, I don't know.